Good morning, everyone. Let's start talking about ES6, the next version of JavaScript. And will be our agenda today. We will talk about some basics and some of the main features, how to use it today, and we'll talk about the ES6 Rocks project. And we're not talking about history, because it doesn't make any sense today. So actually, the ES6 spec is about 700 pages, so we don't have this time. So we have a lot of features, and I try to cover some of the main features. Before I start, I am from Brazil, and Brazil is well known for the carnival, everyone knows. We talk about Brazil, we think in carnival, or you think about football. Yeah, it's a great joke. Thanks for the host. I think Brazil is still being recognized as the country of football, I think. So, we have this football in carnival, but what I want to talk is, we have a good stuff in Brazil. So I think you know Sepultura. Sepultura is one of the greatest metal bands in the world, and I'm really proud that they're from Brazil. So we have this, we have great stuff in Brazil. We don't have just samba and bossa nova. We have great music. So Brazil is also the country of JavaScript. Here is the conference we have per year in Brazil. We have almost 30 conferences, JavaScript conference, and front-end technology conference, and our community is pretty huge. So let's start with the basics. And here's a funny thing. In ES6, we have this string.contains, but this week the spec changed. So it doesn't have anymore the string.contains. Now the name includes. But why? It's because string.contains will break the web. String.contains is not web compatible because the community figured out that MooTools, the popular framework, earlier popular framework, have this method, string.contains. So if we put string.contains natively in JavaScript, we'll break a lot of websites. So the specs change, and this is a good thing, because the TC39, the guys that are running the specification, are looking to the community and looking to the problems. And now we have this, now the method is string.includes. And we have also string.starts with and string.ends with. There's new methods, and these three methods takes two arguments. It's a piece of string, and we can specify where you want to start to JavaScript search. So it's pretty basic. And we have string.repeat that is pretty common in other languages. We just specify how many times you want to repeat the string. Keeping in context of strings, we have these template strings now in JavaScript. Template strings are strings literals that allows embed expressions. And template strings introduce this backtick, grave accent. So we have now the single quote, the double quote, and this backtick. And here, the first example, we have this just logging a template string, nothing different here. And now we have these multi-line strings. Until ES5, we are not allowed to do this. So now with template string, we can break the line, and we can have multi-line strings without concatenating and escaping. And we can actually do something more useful. We can construct a DOM query. So we can use these placeholders inside of template strings with the curly brackets. And in this example, we are just defining some variables, the name and time. And inside of our template strings, we can just use it with the placeholders. We don't need to concatenate, and we don't need an extra library to do such a thing. We had another thing in template strings that is tagged template strings. We can tag a template string with a function, and when we define this function, we take two arguments, the strings inside of template strings and the values. And then this not useful example is I'm just looping through the strings and then returning uppercase. And here's how to use it. I'm just defining some variables, and then I tag the template string, and now we have a Spanish-Argentinian message. No, actually here is in English. The next one is in Argentina. Because with template strings, we can do something like I18N implementation. I'm just define a current language, and then I define the strings of my application. Here I'm defining the English message and the Spanish-Argentinian messages. And then the implementation is pretty simple. Oh, I'm offline. Okay. The difference here, I'm looped to the strings, and then I'm just pointing to the object literal with the specific language. And this is how to use it. I have some variables, and then I tag the template string, and boom, we have now the message in Spanish. So you can imagine a lot of things you can do with template string. This is a pretty simple example with I18N. Moving to for strings to numbers, we have a lot of things in numbers now in ES6. One of the fun thing is we have octal and binary literals. So now you can explicitly specify if this number is octal or if it's binary. This is pretty useful. And we have these two methods, isFinite and isNotANumber. I think is as well known. The isNotANumber is a well-known method in JavaScript. Actually, we already have these methods, but it is in global scope, and now they're moving to the number object. That make a lot of sense. And then they try to fix some issues. If your application using a lot of math, if you are a hardcore programmer using a lot of math, you definitely check it out, all of the new methods in math object. We have a bunch of new methods. We have also a lot of things in array objects. We have a lot of methods like our array.from that I will show you, array.off, array.find, fill, and we can also subclass in an array. But here in this example, I will show you array.from that takes an array from another thing, like an iterator. Here is the JSConf website, and then I'm just querying the DOM, looking through to the speakers, and then I can specify a second argument that is a map function, and I'm using an arrow function that we will see later. And then I'm just logging the inner HTML. We have a shorthand in objects. If you are a JavaScript programmer, you have this common situation where we have a name, the same name for the properties. So if you want to return or create another object, you need to define the property and the value, even if they are the same. So with this object literal shorthand, if you have the same name, you can just put 1. You don't need to specify the property and the value. Also, we have the structuring assignment. here is a way to define, it's another way to define variables. Here is using the array pattern. You can just define like this. And we have also the object pattern. That looks weird, but it works. So, about the main features, we have block scope. You see I'm using let in the other examples. Block scope, the difference for let and for var. I don't know if let is a replacement for var. I think it is, but I see a lot of people saying that no, let is not a replacement for var, but I think it is. So let define a variable in just the scope. So in this example, I'm using, creating a for loop, and this block I'm creating this j variable. So this j variable just exists here in this block. If I try to log outside of this block, it will fail. And we have arrow functions that is well known as lambda in other languages like Python, I think C# and other languages. And it looks like a dime bag flying V, the symbol. So the arrow function is not newable. We cannot make a new arrow function. That makes a lot of sense. And we don't have the arguments object anymore in this arrow function. And this function is always anonymous. And we have the this binding fixed, and we will know how. Here's how arrow function works in a simple way. So I'm creating this variable, it's a function, and then I define the parent name, and after the arrow, we have the return. We don't need to specify the return, so it's a pretty simple example. In this console.log, we will output 6, because I'm passing 5, and then here x turning 5, and then after the arrow, x plus 1 will be 6. It's pretty simple. We can have more parameters, so if you have more parameters in an arrow function, we need to open and close the parentheses. And if you don't have parameters, you need to open and close the parentheses like this. And if your arrow function will need a lot of codes, you need you need a body. You need to open the curly brackets like this. The main difference here is that you need to return something. Okay. And here is the classical issue with the this. Every JavaScript programmer know this issue. That if we have a function inside a function and then try to take the this, we lost the reference for this. So in this example, we will have this type error. This the log is not a function because here this doesn't have the log methods. So we already have a way to fix this issue with ES5, and we just need to wrap the function with parentheses and turn this into another function, and then we can call the bind methods, and you can pass to this. But this is not So in ES6, we just use an arrow function, and then we never lost this reference. This is pretty great. Classes. Classes are controversial because a lot of people doesn't like classes in JavaScript, don't want classes in JavaScript, but we have classes in JavaScript now with ES6. But classes are just sugar syntax, okay? We don't have any change in the core of the language. It's just another way to do something. And how to use in class, this is a valid ES6 example, a classical example. We have the class keyword, we define the class animal, and we have the constructor, and we have the method. Here, it doesn't need to define the function keyword, we just define the method. And we can extend a class, and we can use super. So, if you want to use classes, you can use it. If you don't want, you can keep with your own style. About modules. Modules is, for me, is one of the most exciting features in ES6, but it's still changing. We have the module loader in another spec, but it's still one of the greatest features in JavaScript. So here's how to do it. I'm creating a file, bas.js, and I'm defining a variable, okay? And then I'm just export what I want for this module. And we have the keyword default. That is, if we just have a single primary function, we can use the default in our module. And here is how to use it in our app. We just import this module, and it works. Here, I'm just defining a function, and then return the function. And here, we can have both named exports and default exports in a module. And we also can import a module inside another module. So here, you can see in this full.js module, I'm importing another module. And then I can export the default full, that is a single function, but I can also export a named this variable bar. And for use in my application or in another module, I can just import the named with open and close the curly brackets. Here's an example that I will show you later, how to use in modules, importing named and default exports, and just using it. And how to use it today. I'm using now the 625 project. 625 is a project that turns ES6 code into a valid ES5 code. So why I'm using 625 and not another transpiler like Tracer from Google? It's because 625 is a pretty active project on GitHub. I think the guy that wrote this library works a full day in this 625 project. And we don't need any runtime. We don't need extra library for using 625, so it's great. And the generated code is human readable. You can actually open the generated code and you can understand what has happened. And if you want to use modules with CommonJS, you can plug Browserify, and you can use Grunt or another Gulp or Broccoli or whatever you want for. So here is an example that is in my GitHub, and I will try to demonstrate. So here I created this grunt file that just use 625 and use Browserify, and I can run. I don't know if you, oh no. Okay, believe in me, I'm running grunt, and I'm specifying that I want to convert my modules to CommonJS. I think is CommonJS. So I can use CommonJS so I can run with Node. So here I'm in the sample. and common app.js, and then I have my modules working with Browserify. But if I want to use this in the browser, I can just serve my folder. I can see the bar. So, okay. The thing is, I can run the modules, and I can turn into CommonJS modules or AMG modules, so I can run in Node with CommonJS. I can run in the browser with CommonJS using Browserify, and I can run, I can turn into AMD, asynchronous modules definition, and I can run, if I want, asynchronous modular loading in the browser. So here's the ES6 Super today, and there's no bug in this chart. Yeah, this is true. Internet Explorer is 70% of ES6 implementation. So we have Firefox with 60. So we are almost there, okay? ES6 will be officially released in mid-2015. And if you're using frameworks like these popular frameworks, they are also moving to ES6 modules and another ES6 features. And here's a project that I mentioned, ES6Rocks.com is a website for spread the information about ES6. And today, we are launching a new version of ES6 Rocks. So if you will try ES6Rocks.com, we have a beautiful new website. And last thing, to build this website, I created Harmonic, that is a static site generator using ES6 features. You need to check it out on GitHub and contribute. And that's it. Here is my contacts. Thanks. Sorry.